Previously on my Hackintosh build.
Oh, so far so good. I really hope nothing bad happens, knock on wood. So I have come to potentially my first downside. So I'm gonna go through the new video, re-download this stuff. Hopefully there's, I guess, better links or more updated something. And yet again, I am frozen in the same exact spot. I'm gonna call this as a fail. Yes! I finally got the Apple logo. Finally. So to solve that issue and get to the next step, what I did was I went to GitHub. You can go ahead and follow that address if you want to. I went here and they have their own kex files here. Here it is, kex files 10.14. If you just hit download here and download the zip, I download the zip, I have it over here, opened up the zip, and I just got the kex files. I just ignored all the other stuff on there. I ignored those, took out all of these, which are the kex files. These are the ones that I use to get it to work. And even though this whole video is just back and forth because I'm troubleshooting and also trying to make this informational, now I am trying to figure out a kex that I can use that will help me with the internet not working. Okay, so now that I'm finally in this screen, I can go to disk utility, and once I'm at disk utility, it's gonna open up everything that's plugged in and all my hard drives. Now I can erase my current M.2 drive, which is my main drive, or I can use one of my other two hard drives and use that as, say, like if I want to have a designated drive just for the Apple operating system, I can do that, or I can just have this completely remapped as my main. So I think I'm gonna do a hard drive and see if that is something that I'm gonna enjoy more. So after selecting your drive, I just went here up to view and view all. So I selected my first drive here, and what I'm gonna do with that first drive is I'm gonna hit erase. This will come up, rename it. I have extended journal and guide partition, and I'm gonna hit erase. It's gonna go ahead and erase everything off there, so make sure you don't have anything important. Now that it's done, I'm gonna finish that. We're gonna hit the little X up here, and now we're gonna do reinstall Mac OS. So I'm gonna hit reinstall Mac OS, continue. Mojave comes up, continue, and you need to be connected to the internet. I have my Ethernet hooked up, and I'm getting the error, recovery server could not be contacted. That means you're not connected to the internet, which means I have to fix this yet again through one of the kex files because something's not right. So now I have to boot back into Windows and figure out what kex files did not work. Okay, so I've got the whole list, the old list of the kex files that I got from that site. And what I did was, I mean, there's really no explanation on what all these are, what they do. You can Google, you can get a little bit, but basically any of the ones that had Ethernet in them, I selected them and put them on my drive. I'm sure some of these are completely useless. Maybe they're all useless, but they have Ethernet in the name, and hopefully that's a patch that fixes this. Okay, so none of those worked. So now what I'm doing is I'm jumping back into this big old list of kex files, and I'm gonna be taking out the two that work for my motherboard. Apparently it uses the Realtek. There's a bunch of other ones that you can use for different Ethernet chipsets or something, but the B450 I think is Realtek, but in here it has two different ones. It has the 8100 and the 8111. Why? So, big change of plans. I figured out why it wasn't working, and apparently the new version of Clover has an issue with actually installing the KEX for the Ethernet, so you can't do it. And I went on a lot of forums, and I even posted on some of the forums. But anyway, I am at kb.hackintoshisfun.ml. And basically what you do is you need to follow their steps, and once you actually get to downloading things, you have to do the offline version, because their online version or the Ethernet version it doesn't work right now. So that's why it wasn't working for me, and that's why it's not working for a lot of other people. So far what I'm doing right now is I downloaded the stuff they told me to download, which is the regular things, the install macOS and the gib macOS, which was pretty much the same as before. Right now I am doing the command install thing, the very first one for gib macOS. Just open up this, double click it, this pops up. And for the Ethernet mode, the old one, you were supposed to hit R for recovery and then download the latest, whichever one you're gonna do. I'm doing Mojave, and that only downloaded one file, but this is offline, so you need to download all the files, so this takes way longer. You can see I'm only at 40%. This has been running for a little while. So that's where I'm at right now. All this stuff, all the links they have is on that page, but that's where I'm at right now. Complete restart, and this is where I'm at. Gib Mac, this is installing, no recovery mode, install it, and once I'm done with that, then I should actually start to get into the real process of getting this thing to work. Now that the download is done, on this side of the screen I have got the Make Install Mac OS Master, and I have selected the pack app win.py, and over here I have opened up the Gib Mac OS Master. These are both things that it says in the write-up to have installed, so I installed them and I just opened them up, one over there, one over here, and you can see my folder list. I've gotten into Gib Mac Master, downloads, public, release, and then it brings me into here, and what it says to do is grab this one and throw it in here and then open it up. So here we are, this is the pack app WinPy. For this one to actually work, I believe you need Python installed. All that stuff is in the write-up, saying the prerequisites over here on the side. Right now I'm in preparing. If you go up and do the prerequisites in the introduction, it'll tell you all the stuff that you need to have downloaded. So for some reason I missed that. I didn't have Python, but now I have Python installed, and when you double click on it, this will show up, and you're supposed to put P in there, hit enter, and it will pack all of the things that need to be in there. Okay, so I just finished up here. Next thing you have to do, now that I finished all of that, I went down and now I'm at part 2 right here, preparing the installer. I like it, they have like little short GIFs here, but basically it tells you exactly what to do. You open up the boot disk utility, or BDU, open that up, and then you hit options, you go into configuration, configure it, click on this, format it, and it formats it to exactly what it needs to do for the actual install for Clover. Alright, for phase 2 for this, I've already got BDU still open from the last one. We're gonna go to Tools, Extract, and this is where it says up here you need to go to basesystem.dmg. Base system is right here, and if you follow, it's in the Gib Mac OS, Mac OS downloads, public release, and then it's gonna be in here. Then once you choose that, then you just hit desktop, and then it'll be downloaded onto the desktop. Once you're done with that, then we need to go here and then go to part 2, just like it says, and then restore, and we should be done with phase 2. All right, so I just followed along. I hit part 2, restore, and it's just the 4.hfs, the one that you just downloaded to your desktop. Select that one, and then it will start the download process. Now that that's done, I am opening up Paragon Disk Manager, and basically this is pretty straightforward. Just follow the steps to make a partition for whatever drive that you're deciding you're gonna put it onto. Just the instructions. It's a program specifically made for this, so super easy. Okay, so now that I did the whole partition thing on my flash drive, my drive is ready to go, like it says right there, 100%. So I'm gonna close out of this, and we no longer need to be in Paragon. Next up, the next steps, we're gonna be following this little thing on here. That's from step 6 all the way to 8 up here. Basically, we're gonna be opening up Transmac as admin, going to USB, dragging and dropping, pretty simple. So Transmac, right click it and run as admin, and then just wait for the countdown, open it up and follow the steps. So during this long process of downloading, I decided I would make a little snippet of where this is, just in case you get lost. So you need to have Transmac open. You're gonna go into your USB and then base system, install the app, contents. Within contents, you're gonna drag and drop the shared support file. This whole GIF thing here is ridiculously fast. That's one part that kind of screwed me up. The shared support folder, I don't know what they mean by the prepared one. The only one I know about is the one that was already in the Gib Mac OS. If you go in here, master, downloads, public release, shared support, that's the only one I know about, so that's the one that I drag and dropped in there. There you go. Okay, so now we are back to the Kex stuff. So right now I have Clover open. This is the new thing that pops up. You've got Clover, pop into EFI, and then you've got something that you should probably be used to if you've done this before, all these files. So I popped in my configure one, the one that I made on the editor that they have. It's a very rough editor. I tried my best and did exactly what they said, but I have a feeling, like, especially when I went to, I think it was kernels and patches, there was only like 2 available kernel patches, and then theirs, they had like a whole list. I don't know, I feel like that's not going to work, and I might just have to grab the other configure from another website and just pop it in there, one that's already been finished for AMD. But once that's done, now it's pretty much the same thing where I need to get back in here, and I already put that in. Now I just need to go into Kex, other, and just throw in the ones from OneDrive. They all use the same thing. I still have the OneDrive downloaded on here that has all of these, so just pick and choose the ones that you need, drag and drop them in there. These are all the Kex that I ended up using. The Apple ALC, Lulu, Null CPU, the Realtek, hopefully this works now, the virtual SMC, because that's apparently the newer one, and whatever green. And on the last step, I have run into a problem. See on here, it says for Clover's version older or newer than the 4988, it says these are the ones that you need to have. Both of them are the same, one of them is just a 64. And if you actually go into it, Clover EFI, Clover drivers, I don't even have the ones that they're telling me to keep. I have the APFS driver, but I don't have the memory fix or the HFSP. I don't have any of it. This is what I have from what they told me to download. So this, I'll try it this way. I have finally made it a step further. Okay, so the first time this didn't work. I felt like it wasn't going to. I went in, and as soon as I tried to boot up in partition 1, there was a big circle with a slash through it. And I'm pretty sure that was through the p config list, whatever the heck it is. So what I did was I actually grabbed the one from amd-osx, that website. I grabbed their 17H from their website and replaced the one that the other website made me make, and I set that up, and now I'm back here. I didn't change anything else, but I'm back here. Go up to utilities and network utility, and once you go up there, it's not blank, it actually says I have an internet connection. So now I can finally go reinstall macOS, and I hit continue, and I don't have that little pop-up anymore because now it recognizes I have Ethernet. I don't know if this is gonna work so far, because it is kind of janky right now. I have one setup from one and another setup from another one, so I don't really know what I can do here. And it looks like I can't use any of these. Disk is locked, or it's not formatted for Mac OS Extended Journal. This is the one that I was supposed to be using. It says it's locked. So I'm gonna have to figure out, I'll go back into Windows, and I need to make this, I guess, an extended journal. Actually, I didn't need to. I just had to go up here into terminal, and all you have to do is, once you find the disk you want to, it's disk util erase disk. You have to do this one, the JHFS Plus, that puts you in Mac OS Extended Journal. Clean the drive, dev. Mine was actually disk 1, so that worked. But if you go up and hit disk util list, it'll give you the list of all your drives, so you know which one to put in here, and that's what you're gonna be using. So now I actually have it, and I can install it on that drive. So far, so good, maybe? And as soon as that was done, after 6 or 7 minutes or whatever, it's gonna restart, and once their screen comes up, go ahead and hit F10, F12, whatever your computer is, to get back into here. I am gonna go into the regular partition for this, and instead of doing the boot macOS install, the base system, the first one that you usually did, now what we're gonna do is we are going to boot from the clean drive, or the one that I just did. I don't think you can see that, but boot macOS from whatever drive that you put. Mine's called clean drive, so let's boot into this one. And once we start to boot into this, we're gonna get all of this stuff yet again. And once all that jargon's gone, you're gonna come back to the Apple logo, and this time it's gonna take a little bit longer, I think. Yeah, there it goes, just popped up. About 31 minutes remaining. This is the second out of 3 times that this is supposed to happen. So once this is done, it's gonna reset, and you're gonna have to go back down to your keyboard, hit, for me it's F12, and then you're gonna go back into partition 1 and boot again from the drive. Final boot, partition 1 yet again. And we should get it, yep, right up here. And I am booting again from the hard drive. And we're gonna go through this long list of commands. Ah, finally, here it is, the welcome screen. Now I'm just gonna go through the setup, and then there's only one more step, which just involves pretty much downloading the
macOS contains a built-in screen reader called VoiceOver. If you know how to use VoiceOver, press Command F5 now to turn it on and set up your Mac. If you would like to learn how to use VoiceOver to set up your Mac, press the Escape key.
Was that you? And howdy doody, we are done screw-ny. Well, at least for that part. So here it is. I am finally, after like, probably been a week of going back and forth, going on forums and whatnot. This was kind of a last-ditch effort on my part to get Mojave. If this didn't work, I was just gonna do High Sierra. But looky there, it actually works. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of this. Okay, I was freaking out for a little bit because I thought okay, anyway, what was going on is I was not getting any internet again. I restarted it, it still didn't work. I tried to do the IP address and stuff, everything was blank. I couldn't even manually type in an IP address, and I just unplugged my Ethernet cable and plugged it back in, and for some reason it works now. And I don't know, but it works. So now I need to go and download the Clover bootloader. Anywho, we need to get onto Safari and we need to find Clover Configurator and install that. And now I am in Google Clover Configurator. Before you open that up, you might need to go into Preferences and go into Security and Privacy and change what you can and can't open from third party, because I'm pretty sure the default is you can't open from third party and you actually have to go in here and change it. So we're gonna open that up. And of course it can't be opened, hit OK. Now we have this open, open anyway. Open. And there you go, now it's open. Now that we're in here, we're gonna click on Mount EFI, and you're gonna have all your drives open up here. I am still using the same one, which is labeled Clean Drive after I cleaned it. I'm gonna hit Mount Partition, go ahead and enter whatever password that you put in. And opening up this, you're supposed to be in EFI. It's supposed to be blank, but I already have an EFI in here, Apple Extensions, Firmware, no clue. But what you're supposed to do is come over here to your Clover and drag and drop the EFI from there into here. I'm just gonna rename this one because I don't know if this is doing anything important. Anywho, that should be it. It's got the EFI in there. I honestly don't know what is that doing. I don't know, hopefully me renaming it changed it. But then we're gonna go here, unmount, and we are done with that. So we can close that out. And bada bing, bada boom, that should be it. And now we can test it by going up here to the Apple logo. You don't have to shut down. You can just restart it. So here we are in the boot menu. Again, F12 for me. I don't know what it is for you. Bring you up to the boot menu. Now I do still have my flash drive. You can take it out. We haven't needed that for a little while. But now we need to select our hard drive that we have it to. Mine is the Hitachi, but you see how it has Hitachi and the UEFI OS Hitachi. You want to click on that one. Then this is gonna pop up again, and so you can see that we're gonna be booting from the same hard drive that we have been. And we're gonna go through this again. And here we are booted back into Mac OS. And I mean, there it is. I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't exactly know what to do for dual booting. I have them on separate hard drives in here. I have one hard drive for Windows, and now I have this hard drive for Mac OS. As far as I know, it's pretty simple. You just have to tell the computer to boot into whichever hard drive or whichever operating system you want. I'm not completely sure how you can boot up and it has like the two different ones and you can pick between them. But I'm just happy that I finally got this on here. Now I just need to figure out how I'm able to link my Apple ID so I can get iMovie and Final Cut and basically all the things that I've paid for on Apple's end onto this computer, which is much faster.